Tradition. You can't buy it. It's earned the hard way over decades and eras. On the field, on the road, in the mud. With guts and with grit, and firm belief that today could be our day. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup is back. Still alive, still kicking, the oldest prize in American soccer. 96 teams, part-timers to major leaguers. Survive and move on, lose, and you go home. So we call all underdogs, dreamers, and believers. And we ask you again one simple question. Are you up for the cup?
A beautiful look at downtown Miami here in South Florida tonight. It's round 2 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup from Chase Stadium. A Miami Derby featuring Inter Miami 2 of MLS Next Pro and Miami FC of USL Championship. Alongside Chris Nurse, I'm Josh Appel. Thanks so much for spending part of your Tuesday night with us. Inter Miami 2 and Miami FC both winning in the first round. Inter Miami in its first ever Open Cup appearance. Inter Miami 2, I should say. Miami FC in their 7th. And here's how round 1 went, Chris, for Inter Miami 2. They fell behind to Miami United 1-0 at the half, but came out firing in half number 2. 4 goals scored.
Yeah, they didn't start the game as they would have liked, but they got stronger as the game went on. Great delivery from Basabi there to set up that game to get them back into the goal to get them back into the game. But Cohen really was a strong player in this game. He's a player who knows where the back of the net is. If you leave him in the attacking third, he'll get goals all day long.
Had a brace in round 1 and then a brace in Inter Miami 2's last league game as well. Miami FC, a dominant performance against Naples United. 4-1 to advance to this round. It's been a tough time in league play for them, so this was a huge confidence boost.
Yeah, it's important for them to get a win to kind of boost their confidence, but they haven't started off in the USL Championship this season as they would have liked. Yet to get a win, I think tonight could be very troubling for them.
So here's how both teams will line up tonight. There you see Bill Hamid, the goalkeeper for Miami FC. He's a former champion of the U.S. Open Cup back in 2013 with DC United, where he spent 9 seasons. And then Matias Marin starts in goal for Inter Miami 2.
Yeah, Matias Marin is a fantastic young prospect, great shot stopper, but I think this Inter Miami CF2 side has a lot of young potential. National team players, Daniel Pinter just came back from the US U18 national team, but there is a lot more experience in Miami FC, but they haven't been able to put them onto the field and get wins and results in the USL Championship as yet. So really, it's very difficult to predict what will happen in tonight's game.
Inter Miami CF2 in the pink, Miami FC in the white. Josh Appel, Chris Nurse with you from Chase Stadium as we get the go-ahead, and we're underway in round 2 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Remarkably, Miami FC, in each appearance and each game played in the Open Cup in their 7-year appearances, they've never left the state of Florida. Last time Inter Miami's first team participated in this tournament, Miami FC nearly beat them, took them to penalties.
Yep. Miami FC, obviously, since their existence, 2015, they've had a very up and down trajectory. They were extremely strong in those opening years when they had the likes of Poku, when they're playing in the NASL, and something hasn't clicked in the last couple of seasons. They've not quite reached those heights that they had in their earlier existence. So it's going to be interesting to see, with the changes to the league structure and the new leaders in their own organization they have, how they adapt.
Terrible giveaway by the youngster Marin in front. Inter Miami 2 survives. Miami FC keeps their foot on the gas. In the corner, this is Lucas Milano. A 1-0 win to New Mexico United on Saturday for Miami FC. Milano came as close as anybody to scoring for Miami FC, hit the woodwork, came up empty, and it's a performance that Miami FC can build on coming into this Open Cup game against MLS Next Pro side Inter Miami 2. But these Baby Herons, they feel good about themselves. 4 goals scored against Miami United in the first round, and they follow that up with a 4-2 win over their former head coach Federico Higuain and Columbus Crew 2 in their last league match. Yuval Cohen with back-to-back braces. They're feeling good about themselves there as well.
Yeah, it's important to know that Miami FC, as we spoke about, have had a very turbulent 18 months past couple of seasons, but they've started to narrow the margin of defeat. The past 2 games, a 1-0 loss to New Mexico, 2-1 loss to Tampa Bay Rowdy, so you could say are 2 of the stronger teams in the USL Championship. So they're starting to get things better from a defensive organisation standpoint, conceding less goals, and obviously over time that's going to give them a good foundation to build upon as they go about trying to pick up 3 points. So I think you're starting to see some positive changes in Miami FC, but it's something that's going to take time. New head coach needs to understand the league, the circumstances, all the different nuances that come along with being successful in the USL Championship.
Nightmare of a season last year, just 3 victories. Follow that up this year with a really tough start. No wins in their first 4 matches. Inter Miami 2, which again is feeling good about themselves, have a real chance at a cup set here tonight. This is Cohen to the outside for Hall. Signed to a homegrown contract with the first team. Zeltzer Zubida, who scored in round 1. Back for Hall on the outside. Now Montenegro. A solid performance against Miami United as well. So Chris, Inter Miami 2, by age, the less experienced side. Miami FC, way more experience. How does Inter Miami 2 go about navigating that difference, not just on the mental side, but physically as well?
As you can see, Miami FC currently dropping off and allowing them time and space. So
this is offside. The flag came up. Daniel Pinter leaked behind the defense, but again, that flag came up for offside.
But you also see the quality. He's a little bit early in his run, but makes no mistake, once he gets in behind, he doesn't miss or the keeper doesn't make a save, he buries it in the back of the net, and putting the ball past the goalkeeper like Hamid is never easy, whether the whistle's gone or not. It speaks to the quality, and we were speaking about Pinter just now, just returning from the US national team with the U18s, where he got himself on the score sheet over the past week.
He did not play in round 1 against Miami United, so an added weapon for Lobo Ledesma, the head man for Inter Miami 2. Tell you what, Chris, he was not offside by much. Montenegro battles with Bonfiglio, who had a brace against Naples in round 1. This is Matrano for Akinyode. Knutson, and given away. Zeltzer Zubida making a run down the right side, but couldn't find him. Here's Pinter. He goes down. Play continues. And Knutson can reset it. Miami FC.
I think it's important to speak about some of the opportunity this cup competition brings. Hamid in goal has played over 200 professional games throughout MLS and teams in Europe. And you have youngsters on the field right now, 17 years old, who were playing GA Cup or playing MLS Next this season and last season, out there competing at this level. And I think that's the opportunity it brings for players to learn, grow, continue to develop, and test their skills. Essentially, this is a test to see if they can have the skill set to compete at that level, to test themselves from an intelligence standpoint, and also, as you mentioned, the physical standpoint. But the more intelligent you are with the ball, the quicker you're able to move it and find space, you can eliminate the physical aspects. So this is a good challenge for these young players for Inter Miami CF2.
Good ball. Zeltzer Zubida trying to get there, but he's cut off by Jonathan Ricketts. Zeltzer Zubida still battling, and then that one rolls over for a goal kick, and Bill Hamid with some kudos to his defender in front of him, Jonathan Ricketts.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he should be congratulating Ricketts for that. The ball didn't really have enough pace to run out of play freely. He ended up in a wrestling match to ensure it ran out of play. I think maybe in a hindsight there, he'd see that back and probably deal with it earlier rather than trying to allow it to run out of play.
Marin. A 17-year-old, dual citizenship, Ecuador, here in the United States.
When we spoke to the coaching staff at Inter Miami in the build-up to this game, aren't some of the things they like about Marin. They spoke about his shot-stopping capabilities, but also his ability to play with the ball at his feet. He has fantastic ability to play with the ball at his feet. Sometimes in training he joins in as a midfielder or a striker, and he's as efficient as anybody else on the pitch. So as the game has evolved, you know, it's very important for goalkeepers to be able to play with their feet, and I think that's one of the characteristics that Marine has displayed to his coaches, why he's at this level so early, because we know that goalkeepers is predominantly a position where you develop a little bit later. Younger outfield players, 17, 18, you get onto the field. Goalkeepers, they play a little bit longer, closer to their 40s. So normally the experience for a goalkeeper comes a little bit later in their career, but he's obviously getting professional minutes at a very young age, which is going to be extremely valuable for him.
And you talked about it earlier, just the polar opposite situation with the keepers. On one end, Bill Hamid, the grizzled veteran, 9 years in MLS, 34 years old, caps with the men's national team here in the United States. And then the youngster on the other side, just 17 years old. That's the beauty of the Open Cup. Vasquez takes a deflection off of Nico Almeida, and it's a throw-in. Miami FC gets it started quickly. Probably got to move that ball that's on the touchline right there, at the bottom of your screen. And another throw-in here for Miami FC. Played back towards Marin. Taken away, and here comes Miami FC. Milano to the outside. Low cross comes in front. Bobbled for a moment. Still alive for Miami FC. And now a whistle against Miami FC. Dangerous there, and now Marin looks to be a bit nicked up. Takes his glove off and nurturing that right hand. Let's take another look.
There's been a couple iffy moments in this opening 10 minutes from Inter Miami CF2. Just a little bit of lapse in communication there, or switching off, has allowed Miami FC to get a sniff on target. They've all been self-inflicted mistakes, but they have to be careful, because when you do have quality in the box, they only need half a chance to put the ball into the back of the net. Sometimes in these games, it can take a little while for the youngsters to calm their nerves, to calm their anxiety, and really start to play fluidity. And that comes with experience. The more games that they play at this level, the more games they play at this level of competition, they become calmer in their approach to things. So it's not abnormal to see these mistakes early in the game, but they have to be careful, because if you go down a goal against a team like this, it can be very challenging.
Well, the whole goal of MLS Next Pro is to develop these guys, to make them first teamers in MLS. How valuable is playing in a format like this, tournament like this, against competition and guys who are physically bigger, a lot more experience? How beneficial is just the situation in general for a team like Inter Miami and the rest of the Next Pro squads that are in this tournament? Get to it in a moment. Cohen, nice play defensively. Got that out of harm's way by Matias Romero, but it will be a corner for Inter Miami too. Miami
FC have to be very careful. As we spoke about, Cohen is a player anywhere in and around the box. If he gets his shot off more often than not, it's in the back of the net. He has a tremendous ability to score goals in and around the 18-yard box, and he was coming very close there.
So first corner of the night for either side. To the 11th minute. The in-swinger on its way. It's a good one. The header just wide. Pinter nearly put Inter Miami 2 up 1-0.
Pinter, again, that's the second opportunity he's had in these opening 10 minutes. Always dangerous in and around the 18-yard box. And it's interesting because he's naturally more of a winger, but he's finding himself in a lot more central positions in tonight's game, and you can see the threat that he's posing.
I don't like the start if you're Lobo Ledesma for Inter Miami 2. And part of what played in Inter Miami 2's favor against Miami United, those young legs. You talk about the inexperience, but there were a lot of guys in their mid-30s up there in age on Miami United, and by the time the second half rolled around, it seemed like Inter Miami 2 just had more energy, their legs underneath them. And then, of course, it didn't help that Miami United ended up going down a man in the second half.
Yeah, I think you could say normally a professional team like Inter Miami and Miami FC, they train consistently. They have performance coaches. For Miami United, it's a little bit different. They are almost a professional team, but they are still pretty much amateur. The players do have other jobs. They're not full-time in the way that they train all the time. So you'd expect that natural fatigue to kick in over the course of 90 minutes, and it did. Inter Miami got the better of them in the end of the game. These two teams, you'd expect even matchup. Maybe you might expect from a physical standpoint for Miami FC to have the advantage, but that's not necessarily been displayed in these opening 10 minutes. I think Inter Miami have had the majority of possession. They've definitely had the better chances created in these opening 10 minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to actually exude their dominance in the game at any point in time, Miami FC.
Cohen with some room down the right wing, puts on the brakes and leaves it back for Zeltzer Zubida. Sparks, who had an assist against Miami United in round 1. Playing that defensive midfielder spot alongside Ricardo Montenegro.
There's a few things leading into this game that I think will give Inter Miami CF a lot of hope and belief, even though USL Championship is competing at a higher level. Right now,
going to get our first booking here. Sorry to cut you off, Chris, but just want to take care of this housekeeping for a moment. Looks like Cesar Abadia Reda will get the yellow.
Not sure if it was malicious enough for a yellow card or if it was dangerous enough situation, but referee was closer to it than I am, so we have to go with his judgment. But we were just saying that Miami FC this season have only scored 2 goals in 4 games. That's not you're not the deadliest team right now, but they've also conceded 8 goals in 4 games. So at one end, they're conceding far more goals than they're scoring, and at the other end, they're not that clinical in front of goal. So there's a lot of positive areas that Inter Miami CF could look at here in terms of there's going to be opportunities to score, given they've conceded 8 goals in 4 games, and they haven't proven as yet in the USL Championship to be that deadly in front of goal at the other end. So there's hope and aspirations for these young players. There's no reason they should go out there not believing in themselves or feeling it underdogs.
If you're a fan of one of these next pro teams and going up against USL Championship sides, how about Columbus Crew 2, leading Lexington 2-0.
You beat me to it. I was just looking at the same thing. An MLS Next Pro team, which is considered 3rd division here in the United States, against USL Championship, which is currently considered 2nd division, and MLS Next Pro teams are having positive results against them. We know cup competition, these things happen. Happens in the FA Cup in England. Happens in all big tournaments across the world. But at the end of the day, there's opportunity to lift silverware at the end of this, and every team wants to be a winner. Everybody wants to lift the cup. So in a game like tonight, you want to put your best foot forward. You want to put your best players out.
That's a Columbus Crew 2 side that this Inter Miami 2 club beat 4-2 in the last league match.
And I think that's what you'll start to see. 15 minutes 0-0. As the game goes on, you're going to start to see more belief. At the first 15 minutes, you really probably question yourself, can I compete against these players? Can I compete at this level? As you get more confident and you're in the game and you start to have positive actions, you're going to start to believe and have more confidence in yourself.
Hall. Correction, that was Almeida. To the outside it comes, and Inter Miami 2 is on the move. Zeltzer Zubida trades and gets it back. Now it's Sparks. Nico Almeida. The captain, Gio Farena. Nobody home. Zeltzer Zubida thought he had some help there, and there wasn't any.
I think one of the things that have been pretty evident in the opening 15 minutes is the ability of the centre-backs for Inter Miami to break the lines, whether it's Nico Almeida or whether it's Gio Farena. Both of them have the ability with the ball at their feet to play great passes into the 8 or 10 in the attacking positions, and they've displayed that. Unfortunately, a little bit of a mistimed layoff there from Zeltzer Zubida.
Cohen trying to get it over the top to Pinter, but it was well defended by Knutson. Cleared away by Miami FC. So far, the more threatening side has been Inter Miami 2. As soon as I say that, Miami FC is taking control. Here's Vasquez. Errant with that pass, and here comes Inter Miami 2 with numbers.
4 versus 2 if they continue to break at pace.
Cohen cuts to the inside, too heavy on that touch, and Miami FC able to navigate that danger. It was a 4-on-2 broke down. Sparks. Pinter and Cohen. Miscommunication, and now Miami FC can try it the other way. Farena stepped up. Montenegro now. And you can just see how disjointed this Miami FC side is.
Yeah, and not just disjointed, but their inability to take advantage of some of the positions from Inter Miami. For example, Tyler Hall predominantly spent the majority of his youth career and his early professional career as a centre-back. He's operating as a right-back tonight, and Miami FC haven't been able to take advantage of that. You can see his natural instinct is not necessarily to go up and play high as a winger and put in crosses. And there's a lot of space left behind when he does go forward. But they've not been able to get the ball down and play anybody forward into those channels that he's leaving behind.
Long ball down the right side. Gavilanes, who scored against Naples in the first round. Cohen. Almeida. Over the top. Is this on? It is. Montenegro. Behind Pinter. Vasquez stepped in front of it. The Pinter gets it back for Inter Miami 2. Now it's Hall into the middle. Heavy touch. Hamid off his line, able to get there.
Interesting. I think Bill Hamid had to be one of the best goalkeepers at managing his emotions, because if you see your defensive midfielders, your midfielders chipping the ball on the edge of your box and giving away possession, normally the goalkeepers are screaming at their head off, telling them to make the smarter choices.
Given away again, Flores. Akinyote able to dispose of that. Gavilanes wins that ball. Started down the right side. Milano.
You can always tell when it's starting to heat up in South Florida, because it just takes, when the temperature's a little cooler, players get back behind the ball quicker when it's time to transition to defense. When it starts to heat up and the temperature starts to have an impact on play,
Crossed in.
you start to see it take a little bit longer for players to get back behind the ball and get the defensive shape as quick as they did during some of the cooler months, if there are cooler months in South Florida.
Mercado to the outside. He gets it back. See the bottom of your screen, Vasquez wants it, and he gets it. Fortunately, he can't control, but it is going to be a throw-in for Miami FC.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle between Vasquez and Tyler Hall. Tyler Hall is a very, very good 1v1 defender, very good at intercepting passes, blocking, making tackles. It's definitely one of his stronger points in his game. It's going to be interesting to see if Vasquez opts to take him on, or if he plays the easy option and plays back to his teammates.
Throw in for Inter Miami 2. Hall to do the honors, the 19-year-old. Came up in Weston FC, the academy down in South Florida in Broward County. Now signed to a homegrown contract with Inter Miami. Cohen went down, wanted a whistle, didn't get it. He was battling there with Ricketts. Too far for Vasquez, and a throw in for Inter Miami 2. already 1-1 between Charlotte Independence and Carolina Core, another MLS Next Pro side. That's only in the 19th minute. They're 1-1 already. South Georgia Tormenta leading 4-0 SC 1-0 near the end of the first half. Milano plays it in front. Nobody was home for Miami FC, and it results in a goal kick.
That may be one of the most dangerous opportunities that Miami FC had so far in this game. Good diagonal ball here to the runner in behind, and he just nods it back into the danger area, but nobody was anticipating it. Marine just ushers it out of play for a goal kick.
23rd minute of this first half. A Miami derby. Inter Miami 2 and Miami FC. First time meeting up. Second team making its first appearance in the Open Cup. The first team a few years ago matched up with Miami FC. As we mentioned earlier, that went to PKs in the third round in 2022. Inter Miami needed an 82nd minute goal from Leo Campana to pull off the 1-0 win. And then the next year, 2023, Schneider Borgelin equalized for Inter Miami in the 89th minute. The teams traded goals late again for a 2-2 draw, and then Inter Miami prevailed in PKs.
I think it's very interesting to see Miami FC showing Inter Miami FC to a lot of respect. They're not pressing the centre-backs. Normally when teams don't press the centre-backs, it's because they have respect for them and they feel like they can be vulnerable and torn apart if they press them too high up. So it's interesting that they're showing them a lot of respect and just dropping off, allowing the centre-backs to have time on the ball, and then applying pressure once they cross that halfway line. As you can see, Almeida under absolutely no pressure right now, and you would expect the older team, the more experienced team, to maybe be a little bit more aggressive and on the front foot in their approach, but they're content to allow Inter Miami to have possession of the ball in their own half.
A lot of space on that left side, but Flores could not get there. And so a throw in here for Miami FC. I mentioned it earlier, but this is the 17th Open Cup match for Miami FC. And every game but one has been played in the Miami metro area, except for a game at Orlando City in 2017. 17 games in this tournament, all in the state of Florida.
I think there's a couple factors that make this affair a little bit more spicy. As you spoke about, Miami FC have been around for a longer existence than Inter Miami CF2. So naturally, they may feel, even though it's maybe a new squad, maybe there's not many players that have been, if any player that's been on the roster since 2015, since its existence. But as an organization and as a team, as a franchise, they should feel that sense of superiority given they've been around for a little bit longer. Number two, it's a South Florida derby. Both of these teams are within a 25-minute drive from each other. Spices things up. I'm sure there's players on both rosters. In fact, we know there's players on both rosters. Brandon Bent.
Toronto rolled one on. It was handled by Marine.
Brandon Bent, who's on the bench for Miami FC tonight, was previously an Inter Miami Academy player. So there's a number of players who will know each other on these benches. And then you also have the rivalry of USL Championship versus MLS Next Pro. So you're competing to see the dominance of both of these individual leagues. So there's three things that will play into the factor tonight of the intensity and the mindset of players going into this game.
In what world are you getting from Miami FC's home stadium, Pitbull Stadium at FIU, to Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale in 25 minutes?
Depends who's driving. Depends who's driving.
Well, I mean, who's driving for you, Jeff Gordon? Max Verstappen?
All right, 35.
Even then? I wish it was 35 minutes. Maybe no traffic. This will be a free kick for Inter Miami 2. Advantageous spot for one. A corner earlier, Pinter nearly gave Inter Miami 2 the lead. Service comes in. Farena took the attempt on goal. It wasn't necessarily a good one. And Miami FC survives that. Miami FC is 9-6-1 all time in U.S. Open Cup play. They've lost both matchups against Division III opponents in this tournament. Hamid out to get it as Pinter was racing on.
So a couple of times now Miami FC centre-backs or defenders have had the ball and they've just tried to play long balls up top and they've not been able to get hold of it, just turning possession back over to Miami FC. To Inter Miami, sorry. Bonfiglio and Milano playing as the most advanced two players for Miami FC just haven't been able to get a hold of the ball and keep them in possession to allow the players in midfield, Akinyodi or Romero, to get up and support.
By the way, that Columbus match has gone final. 3-0, the final score. Columbus with a cup set. USL Championship side Lexington.
And that's what we're speaking about. Half-time, Inter Miami CF going at half-time and they hear that result. A team that they just beat 4-2 were able to beat a USL Championship team 2-0, keep a clean sheet and score 2. It's only going to add more belief to them in the situation that they're in. They're going to go in half-time, they're going to be like, we can do this also. And that's important. For Miami FC, I'm interested to see how they approach the second half. As you spoke about in the last game against Miami United, Inter Miami CF got stronger in the second half.
That's a strong move around the outside. Comes all the way across towards Hall, but it's through him and out for a throw-in.
Yeah, Hall was completely unmarked at the back post. I think had the ball been delivered a little bit earlier, it may have been a better angle for him to just guide this on frame with his first touch. It's just a little bit too far ahead of him. Runs out of play for a throw-in in favor of Miami FC.
Miami too.
Cohen's had a fairly quiet opening 30 minutes, but in honesty, sometimes top strikers, that's when they can be most deadly. When you take your eye off them or they've been quiet, then all of a sudden an opportunity pops up and it's in the back of the net and you're wondering what happened.
Ricketts has space. Had to go long and couldn't. Get it right back. Bonfiglio for Milano. Inter Miami too does well with that. Now they're on the move. Montenegro. The outside for Flores. Hall. For Sparks, he gets it back. Sparks has room and he takes advantage of it. Zeltzer Zubida. Trades with Pinter. Has it taken away by Gavilanes. And now Miami FC is trying to counter with numbers. Bonfiglio. Lays it off to the outside. Comes out in front, kick save by Marin. Pops into the air, punched away again by Marin. How about the youngster coming up huge with a couple of big saves, keeping this game scoreless.
Great opportunity here for Miami FC to take the lead in a game where they've been far, far below what's expected. Here, at least that ball's got to get past Marine in goal. Two fantastic shot stops here, but a fantastic opportunity for Miami FC in a game where they haven't started great to take the lead and get themselves back into it. And no clinicality. They haven't been clinical in the final third. In a game of this magnitude, and you get an opportunity like that, you have to be taking those opportunities. If you're not able to control the possession of the ball, the one or two opportunities that you do get on the counter-attack, you have to make those moments count, because you're not going to get too many of those moments. I think that's the first meaningful opportunity they may have had in this first half, and it was a fantastic opportunity.
Hall ahead for Pinter. He's cut off by Ricketts. They go at it. Ricketts. Zelta Zubida wins that, but it is still out for a throw-in. Good effort, though, by 47 in pink. He scored in the first round. Also has a goal and an assist in league play, the 19-year-old. There's some talent up top for Inter Miami 2. Mateo Saha, who has not made an appearance yet tonight. He scored in round one. Zelta Zubida, we mentioned a ton. Pinter, Yuval Cohen. A lot of competition at those spots. And it's healthy competition, because it's great performances like the one Yuval Cohen has started out his 2025 campaign, both in league play and through one round of this tournament.
Yeah, I think if you're the mutual observing this game and you don't know too much about the levels that they compete at, Inter Miami right now have 67.4% of the possession. Miami FC have just 32.5% possession. Now, possession doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the game. You have to put the ball in the back of the net. But if you have possession of the ball, you're using less energy, you're dictating the tempo of game, you're dictating the flow of the game. You're essentially in control of the game because you have possession of the ball. For Miami FC, they're just doing a lot of chasing because they don't have possession. When they do have possession of the ball, there hasn't been any clear ideas of how they attack. There's been a few optimistic long balls and counter-attack opportunities, but there's not been any clear means of playing through the thirds or attacking on the right-hand side or overlapping fullbacks that we've seen displayed in these opening 35 minutes. So I think, first and foremost, they're going to want to start to dictate tempo of play. They want to spend a little bit more time in possession of the ball. And I think, again, we have to highlight the vast majority of these Inter Miami CF2 players are just teenagers, 16, 17-year-olds, beginning to learn their trade. If you're an experienced player, it's on you to go out and exude your dominance on the field. Essentially, this is an opportunity for the young Inter Miami CF players to learn. But at the moment, I would say they're the ones doing the teaching right now in these open 35 minutes.
They have been the stronger side, aside from the one chance for Miami FC moments ago. They really have not been able to generate anything, partly because they never have the ball. It's because Inter Miami 2 is doing an excellent job. They are up to the test so far tonight in round 2 of the Open Cup. Flores started to make a run. Montenegro gets it instead. Montenegro. Taken away by Miami FC.
And I think it was something that you spoke about earlier, was the physicality. There's not been a difference in physicality in this game so far.
Gavilanes lays it off. Farena got a piece of that cross.
It's not a game right now where you say the teenagers are losing every 50-50 or they're losing the battles. Obviously, I'm speaking, then a strong tackle goes in, and exactly what I'm saying happens. But to play and move the ball is a lot smarter than relying on a physicality. And these are lessons that the players will also learn. In order to negate physicality, move the ball quickly. I think it's Flores here who just gets caught in possession of the ball a little bit late in his decision making. It's a strong tackle from Akiyodi. I expect nothing different. In fact, my next point was going to be, if your younger brother is having the better of you, at some point you let him know that.
Right.
You let him know, and I think there's a response.
Message.
So Akiyodi, I imagine at half-time when he goes into his teammates, he's going to let them know, like, hey, at some point you got to step up and show your dominance as the older player with more experience, with essentially more physicality, more strength, more knowledge, more wisdom. At some point it has to display itself on the field.
Gavilanes. Gives it wide. Service comes in. Farina handles it. Towards the back post. Farina again heads it away. Akinyote steps up. Service comes in again. Marin, aggressive, grabs it, falls on it.
I think maybe one of the biggest losses for Miami FC over the offseason might have been Frank Lopez. Despite them not having a great year in the USL Championship last year, he was the player in the attack that seemed to have the capability to make things happen, whether it was scoring goals for himself, making something out of nothing, or creating assists for his teammates. He was the offensive output last year, and it doesn't seem like they've been able to replace him as yet.
That draws a whistle. Diego Mercado, a little too much there. Farina, the captain, puts it wide. Cohen, 4 goals, last 2 games in all comps. That's back-to-back braces, first round of the Open Cup, and their last league match against Columbus Crew. Tried to find Hall, unable to. Now Matrano, that's taken away. Flores winds it up. Flores sends it well wide. Looks like it might have taken a deflection, though, fortunately for Inter Miami 2. So
Flores picks up the ball in the middle here and pulls the trigger from maybe 25 yards out. Just deflects off the face of Knutson, I think, there at the back, and out for a corner kick. Where again, it's Inter Miami CF2 banging at the door in search of that go-ahead goal.
Probably not a good feeling to take one off the noggin. Second corner of the match for Inter Miami 2. Comes to Hall. Now it's whipped in by Flores. Inter Miami 2 thought that was deflected. Instead, it's the last touch by Inter Miami 2, and Bill Hamid will have a goal kick.
I think going into 5 minutes before halftime, Inter Miami CF2 at this point would be the more happy of the two teams. Now, I'll say cautiously optimistic, because you don't win games by possession or playing pretty or playing well. You win games by putting the ball into the back of the net. So despite how they've dominated possession or how well they've played at times in this opening 40 minutes so far, this opening half, they still need to find a way to get themselves on the score sheet with the possession and the dominance that they've had.
Throw-in for Miami FC. Still looking for the game's first breakthrough. Already had one cup set tonight by an MLS Next Pro side. 3-0 Columbus Crew taking down Lexington of USL Championship. Just a bit too far out of the reach of Cohen. And a throw-in coming for Inter Miami 2. Carolina Core, another Next Pro side in action tonight against Charlotte Independence. 1-1 the score there in the 39th minute. Charlotte Independence, USL League One. Of course, Carolina Core, MLS Next Pro. Gavilanes had it taken away. Vasquez. Akinyote. Pinter harassing him. And now Knutson. Pinter, he gets whistled for the foul.
I was going to ask you your thoughts on it because I see nothing wrong with that.
Well, they let one go on Akinyode earlier. Surprised that this one drew a whistle. So, I mean, that one's less of a foul in my eyes than Akinyode got.
And you can clearly see even the foot that may be perceived to be high connects with pure ball.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see where the referee saw the infringement there.
I would imagine that is part of the argument that Pinter is making. Of course, it'll be a losing argument. One that he'll make nonetheless. Ball comes in, Akinyode. Defended well. Miami FC lets that opportunity go to waste and the ball into the concourse.
Both of these teams are affiliated with star-studded names over the years. I think the most recent with Miami FC is Veron, involved with the ownership group there now, and of course I think everybody knows the star-studded lineup that Inter Miami CF have.
Star-studded, you think?
Just a little, just a little. There's a few names you might recognize associated with that club.
Montenegro. Now all the way back for the captain, Farena.
I'm going to guess there's about 1 minute of stoppage time coming up.
Let's see if you're right.
What's your guess?
For the sake of not picking the same as you, I'll go 2 minutes. Long ball looking for Hall. Hamid, though, out to get it.
Look, I think for Miami FC in the second half, it has to get better. I don't think it's a matter of can it get better. I think it has to get better. I think they have to represent themselves individually better first and foremost. I think they need to represent their league better. I think they need to represent their organization better. They've come off the second in too many aspects in the game. Possession, 50-50s, the ability to create goal-scoring opportunities, defending. There's so many aspects that Miami FC need to improve on in the second half. I think it's going to be a pretty strong conversation when they get into that locker room. And it's going to be interesting to see if they have the capability or players on the bench who can come in and positively impact the game. Because I think the first half has been a very poor display from Miami FC.
The longer they let Inter Miami 2 hang around, the more dangerous this gets. Well, partner, we were both wrong. No stoppage time in the first half. That'll do it. The halftime whistle comes. No score between Inter Miami 2 and Miami FC in round 2 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Chris, your thoughts on that first half?
I think going into half-time, the main statement is if you're good enough, you're old enough. For these young Inter Miami players, they've shown for 45 minutes of the game that they're good enough. The question is going to be, how do they respond in the second half? Are they able to take it a step further and get in the go-ahead goal? Well, my biggest question is I want to see how Miami FC come out in the second half, how they respond, the changes that they make, and a change in mentality.
So we've reached halftime here at Chase Stadium in South Florida. A Miami derby, Inter Miami 2, Miami FC, scoreless at the half. Back with more after this. Welcome back to Chase Stadium in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Second round action between Inter Miami 2 out of MLS Next Pro and Miami FC out of USL Championship. Josh Appel, Chris Nurse with you as we take a look back at
Lack the quality in the attacking third to take advantage of it.
what jumps out to you here from our first half stats. Possession obviously heavily favors Inter Miami 2.
Well, let me ask you, who's making their first appearance in the US Open Cup tonight? In Miami CF2 or Miami FC?
Well, judging by this, you would think it's Miami FC, but Inter Miami 2 in just their second ever game in the US Open Cup with a bunch of teenagers probably deserved better in that first half as we get ready to start half number 2.
And I think that's the most important thing, that Miami FC have to realize the magnitude of this matchup. Number one, it's a local derby. It's a rival game. Whether you believe that or not, you have to play with that intensity. You have to play with that mindset. You have to play with that approach. You compete in a higher tier, a higher division, supposedly. You have to display that when you get onto the pitch. You're older, more experienced. You also have to display that on the pitch. And in 45 minutes, we've not seen that. So I'm expecting Bill Hamid, I'm expecting the head coach, I'm expecting the leaders and the older players in this team to really get some of the others by the scruff of the neck and see a response in the second half. But it's interesting to see Hamid is not even part of the huddle as the team come out right now. Very disjointed. That immediately says to me there's a lack of togetherness because Hamid is the leader. He's the oldest player on this roster. If there's anybody who should be giving this halftime team talk, it should be that guy.
He is the former U.S. Open Cup champion, did it with DC United back in 2013. First season with Miami FC, hoping to provide some stability. He's one of the leaders of this group. Now he's talking to that huddle. Let's see if they can turn the tide a bit in the second half, but they don't really look like much of a motivated group here tonight so far.
I look at body language. I look when players come out and they look like they're walking with a purpose. When you look in somebody's eyes and you see red in their eyes, not because they're a bad person, but because they're angry or they want to go out and improve something or they're excited for the game and they're bringing energy. I'm not sure I'm feeling that from Miami FC right now in this second half. It's 0-0, but if you're Miami FC, you have to be feeling like you're 1-0 down right now. For Inter Miami, as I spoke about, they're still in the game, probably controlling the game. They're going to continue to build confidence. They were at halftime, they would have heard that Columbus beat a USL Championship team 2-0. They just beat Columbus 4-2. It's going to build on their confidence and belief. And on top of that, I think there's a number of youngsters on the bench from IMC who can come into the game and continue to build on the attack even further, with Saha, with Jack Pym, who has the eye for the killer pass, with Basabi, who we saw get an assist from the wide areas. I think they're players that can come in later on in the second half and give Miami FC a lift. I mean, give Inter Miami a lift. For Miami FC, I think they started with it, but...
Taken away, Gavilanes from distance. He's just nowhere close there.
And again, this is probably the third time that Inter Miami CF have given the ball up in the defensive third, just through probably a little bit of lackluster passing. But Miami FC have lacked the quality, the intensity to make anything meaningful of it. Look how good that opportunity is, whether to slide somebody in or run into the box and get a good shot on target. It's just a hopeful left-footed shot hit from 25 yards that only sends the ball boys running. It didn't threaten anybody else.
It's got to be a helpless feeling when you're ambitious like that, and you send it hopefully on frame, and it just comes nowhere close.
And it's frustrating because I want to see the Miami FC that we used to see, the dominant Miami FC that had top players coming out, exciting players who have played at competitions. They weren't just big names on paper. They were big names when they got onto the field and they played, and you saw their first touch, and you saw their movement, and you saw their finishing capabilities. This is far from that.
Over the top it comes. Zeltzer Zubida trying to get there. Nice tackle, but Zeltzer Zubida right back on it for Inter Miami 2. No subs for either side. Zeltzer Zubida gets it back. Zeltzer Zubida, who scored in round 1, gets shoved to the ground. And the yellow comes out emphatically.
And when you look at the numbers here, it's 4 versus 1. Zelter Zubida has no business driving in between here, let alone Miami FC conceding a free kick. You have a numerical advantage over him. Good defending, be patient, win the ball. Instead, 4 against 1, you give away a cheap free kick on the edge of the box. Not a great start to the second half for Miami FC.
So the yellow goes to Diego Mercado, and he's fortunate, another 1.5 feet.
It's inside the box.
Still a great opportunity here for Inter Miami 2. Flores and Zelter Zubida stand over it. Is this the moment for Inter Miami 2? They scored in the 49th minute for the first time in round 1. Zelter Zubida takes, back post, he tried to go for goal, past the outstretched arms of Bill Hamid, but obviously, as you see, well wide, out for a goal kick.
Well wide, but I think the unexpected timing that he took it had Hamid a little bit worried there. You can see by the way he dives across his goal, he wasn't certain that was going out of play whatsoever.
Not a bad attempt there by Ido Zelter Zubida. Strong start to his 2025 campaign, the 19-year-old. A goal and an assist in league play, scored against Miami United. Sparks takes it away. His through ball was cut off by Ricketts. Sparks battles there. Pops up and controlled by Milano, and then he lost it. Now gets it back. It's through Gavilanes and all the way to Marin. You mentioned earlier the previous success that Miami FC has had. We talked about it in the first half. It was 22-23 when Miami FC took Inter Miami's first team to the brink in this tournament, back-to-back years. They have given some scares to this organization in the past. They have fallen off a cliff these last 2 seasons. Montenegro. Farena, the captain. Body of Reda throws it in. Gavilanes takes away. Gavilanes springs Vasquez. Flores right there with him. Mercado goes over the top. Hall deflects. And it's out for a corner.
A good job here of winning a corner in the end, Miami FC. But you see when Vasquez picks up the ball, there's no width on the left-hand side. So he ends up in the middle dribbling around in circles because he doesn't have an outlet. They do well in the end to win a corner, but they've got to do a better job of making the field as wide as possible when they get possession. Players have to join the attack just a little bit quicker. If Vasquez has the ball, then Mitrano has to do a better job of getting forward and giving him that wide option when he's in possession.
So let's see if Miami FC can do something with this opportunity. Gavilanes takes it, deflects around. You can see Bonfilio frustrated, and then from distance, oh, that's an ambitious attempt. Would have been a banger if it went, but as you saw, well high.
Tons of confidence to hit this on the half volley from maybe 25 yards. It's not a bad effort at all. He connects very well with it. But Matias Marin always saw that one rising over his crossbar.
Flores in the middle. Yuval Cohen. Cohen from behind gets shoved down. And another foul, another advantageous spot for a free kick for Inter Miami 2.
I think this yellow card, this foul is more of a yellow card than the yellow card we saw given to Abadia Reda early in the first half. He knows he's not getting there. He doesn't touch the ball. He shoves him from the back.
Two-hand shove. Blatant. No card. Just a free kick coming.
You can see the abundance of players here lining up to take this one. You've got Cohen, you've got Pinter, you've got Flores. any one of those three has the capability to finish from this distance.
Who do you think should take it if you're Inter Miami too?
Cohen looks like he's currently the ball bully. He's got it in his hands, put it down. Doesn't look like he's letting anybody else anywhere close to it. Maybe it's a little bit of deception. We'll see who strikes it. We spoke about Cohen having a hot foot. Anything in and around the 18-yard box, he just has a way of finding the back of the net.
So it's Cohen who goes for goal, and Hamid with a massive stop keeps this one scoreless, but it is a corner for Inter Miami.
As we spoke about, Cohen can be very quiet and then just pop up. He has quality ability to finish inside the 18-yard box, all from just out. He just has that natural gift, that natural talent of being in the right place at the right time, or just having those goal-scoring instincts.
Here comes the in-swinger. It's over everybody. A couple of Inter Miami 2 players went down.
Interesting to see that replay. There's boots off, 2 players down. Nick Almeida, another young US national team who's had appearances in the youth national teams, on display for Inter Miami CF tonight.
An ill-advised pass to give away to Inter Miami 2.
I think the opening 55 minutes has showed us that Miami FC is not really a possession-based team in comparison to the way that Inter Miami CF have approached the game. So it means that they need to be very dynamic on the counter-attack. You need players who have speed, who can make runs in behind. You need midfielders who have a good range of passing, who have the capability to play longer direct passes. All your centre-backs have to be those playmakers. Not really seen anybody who has the legs really to open up this Inter Miami CF defence so far in this game. We spoke about Brandon Bent being on the bench. He's definitely a player who has that capability. He's a very fast player, has the ability to stretch defences, to open him up. It's going to be interesting to see if they give him minutes at some point in this game, because I think the way that they're approaching this game, he could be very impactful.
10 minutes into this second half. Berth in round 3 of the Open Cup on the line. Each of these 2 teams put up 4 goals in their round 1 wins. They've yet to find twine tonight. Flicked ahead, but nobody home in pink, so it's scooped up by Hamid. Gavilanes. Sparks closed in easily. No foul. And then Cohen goes down. They let that go as well. Vasquez. Gets it back.
I think this diverting the conversation. Promotion relegation is obviously big on the slate coming up in a few years for USL Championship. And I think this is
oh, great ball to get through. Bonfilio plays it across for Vasquez. He cuts back to his right, but never could get a shot away. And now Inter Miami 2. Space on the outside.
Game becoming very stretched there. Again, another opportunity for Miami FC to counter-attack on a mistake.
Cohen flagged it out by Knutson, and it is a corner upcoming.
Great now we're seeing Bill Hamid start to get frustrated. Great opportunity here for Miami FC to get a shot off on target. For some reason, don't even manage to test Matias Marina. We spoke about only scoring 2 goals in the USL Championship so far this year. Well, you can see why. That instinct inside the box to get shots off and make the keeper make a save, following the rebound, maybe get a tap in, it's just not currently there.
Cohen. See the replay. Now the corner. Whipped in. Filio able to handle it for Miami FC. Montenegro over to get it. Around Vasquez. Now Hall. Farena. Hall. Another corner for Inter Miami 2. Flores to take it. Zeltzer Zubida. They play on. Zeltzer Zubida still down. Miami FC trying to take advantage. Gavilanes. Montenegro watching him. Flicks it forward for Lucas Milano. Milano looking for Bonfilio. Never got there.
You can see fatigue starting to kick in for both teams. The game's starting to get stretched, which means counter-attacks and transition defense becomes vitally important as the game runs on. The ability to get 8-9 players behind the ball in transition moments is vital, and you're seeing both teams essentially lack that capability right now. Players starting to struggle in the heat with cramp. This is where the substitutions are going to have a big part in this game, and as we spoke about, Brandon Bent, a player who can stretch opponents. Looks like he's dressed and ready to enter this game. The former Inter Miami U16 player, I believe.
Ricardo Rivera also getting ready to come in. He enters for Lucas Milano. Vasquez exits. Bent enters.
As you mentioned, Ben, a former Inter Miami CF Academy player, would have been teammates with a number of these players on the pitch. It's 2007, so that makes him 16, 17. He predominantly, his age group would be a U18
He's
right
18,
now. So
yeah.
Nick Almeida would have been his teammate. Pinto would have been his teammate.
This match an hour old. Rivera in for Milano, Bent in for Vasquez, the only 2 subs for either side so far. Taken away by Bonfilio. He springs to the outside, Bent just into the game. Flicks it back in, comes on, and the stop made again by Marin. Oh, the youngster has been good tonight. 17 years old, and he has come up with 3 huge stops.
Yeah, this is going to be a good matchup on this side of the field. It's going to be Tyler Hall, obviously up against Brandon Bent, and his first contribution to the game is a hang-up cross into the box. Should have really done better with that from that distance. He doesn't quite connect with it as sweet as he would have liked to there. Gavilanes, fairly straightforward save there from Matias Marin, but Brandon Bent having a positive impact in the game in his first touch. I think what you're going to see here is this is going to pin Tyler Hall back a little bit, because Bent does possess a lot of speed. So if Tyler Hall continues to go forward and leave that space open, he's going to create opportunities to find Bent in the space behind. So I envision it's going to pin Tyler Hall a little bit back in the remaining 30 minutes of this game, or he may continue to play high and wide as he is positioned right now.
Knudsen gets a piece of it, but Flores is the one who ends up with that. Flores to the outside. Cohen spins, make that Pinter. Now Cohen waiting in the area. There you see him, 90 in pink. Hall. Flores. Bailey Sparks. Flores. Now they finally find, or at least they tried to find, Abadi Areda. Missed opportunity there for Inter Miami too.
It's interesting to see Miami FC's approach to kind of standing off Inter Miami CF and allowing them to have the ball in it. I feel like we're in a generation where everybody is all about pressing, intensity, closing down, winning the ball as high up as they can and create goals. And Miami FC are displaying complete opposite. They're allowing Inter Miami CF to have the ball, have time and space, dictate possession. But again, as we spoke about earlier, if you're going to allow the team to have possession, you have to be lethal on the counter-attack. You have to know that the 1 or 2 opportunities that you're going to get, you're good enough to finish and be able to win the game. And they've had maybe 2 or 3 opportunities that Inter Miami have given them by poor passing in defensive third. They've given them opportunities, and they've not been able to counter-attack, capitalize on those opportunities. That would have been some storyline. Had Brandon Bent come in and delivered the cross with his first touch of the game to give Miami FC the go-ahead goal. Obviously, being a former academy product, that would have been some headline.
Gavilanes fires one in. Hall gets a piece. To Miami 2 preparing 3 substitutions. Jonathan Ricketts just received the yellow from Miami FC. Now here come the subs for Inter Miami 2. Mateo Saha enters for Daniel Pinter. Santiago Ledesma in for Alejandro Flores. And then Bailey Sparks will exit for Jack Pym.
I think what you have in those substitutions is Pym, a player, creative player in the center of the park, very good composure, the ability to play that killer pass looking forward. If Miami FC don't play close attention to Pym and they allow him time and space, he has the ability to hurt. Ledesma might be one of the older players on this Inter Miami CF roster. 2001, that makes him 24 years old. You could say in this team, given the average age, he's a veteran. And then you have Saha. This is a number 9 who extremely intense. He's going to make this a disaster for these centre-backs. He's going to put them under pressure. He's going to make runs in behind. He's aggressive. He's intense in the way he plays. And he has the composure and quality to finish chances. So 3 positive substitutions there from Inter Miami. And as we spoke about, I think they have the opportunity to lift them in this game.
Who will be the team to break through first? Taken away by Miami FC. Romero gets it started. Gavilanes. Collision there, foul will go against Abadi Areda.
Who has to be careful because as in the first half, he got a yellow card.
Yes,
so
he does.
He has to be very careful. The last thing Inter Miami CF need is to go down to 10 men, 25 minutes remaining in the regulation time of cup competition. I think it's nothing malicious there, but he has to be careful with the accumulation of fouls. Sometimes it's not the one tackle, it's accumulation of 3, 4, 5 that ends up getting the second yellow.
Matias Romero ready to put it back in play. Ooh. Metrano aggressive. Zeltzer Zubita's taking a beating, a zoo beating tonight.
I'm not an advocate for violence, but it's about time the more older, maturer team started to exude a little bit of physicality in the game. It's a way, there's little inches that you can get in the game, and of course that's one way you can gain an advantage over your opponents. There's psychological, there's the little nudging and the stuff that happens in the game. For Miami FC, they've been very nice so far in this game.
Just as a reminder, Hamid has to be aggressive to come get that. If we do remain tied after regulation, we will go to extra time. And if we're still deadlocked after extra time, we will head to PKs. Romero flicks it towards the back post. Header on goal. Easily gobbled up by Marin.
Good positioning there from Marin. Makes it look straightforward. I'll be surprised if we don't see the referee come back and issue a yellow card for this. A little bit extra airtime, a little extra, a few rolls.
And there's that viral morning routine video that's been going around on social media the last week, and that looked reminiscent of the diving in the pool, which some reason took like 6 minutes to do.
The referee did come back, does look like he's come back to issue the yellow card, which I think is probably the right decision in this situation.
So let's take a look at the rest of this week's schedule and second round of the U.S. Open Cup. Here's what we got tomorrow. Portland Hearts of Pine, Hartford Athletic at 6:30. Loudoun and Virginia Dream also getting underway at that time. Greenville Triumph, one Knoxville, Chattanooga FC, Chattanooga Red Wolves, and then Westchester and Van Cyprian Freedoms. All three of those matches at 7 o'clock. A full slate tomorrow, including these as well for Madison FC Tulsa at 7:30. FC Naples, Little Rock Rangers also at that time. Des Moines Menace, they were one of the big stories of the first round. 8:30 start there, and then look at the two late games, Tacoma and Spokane at 10, and then Ventura County and El Paso at 10:30. We're still down for Inter Miami 2.
Looks like that may be Tyler Hall down there.
Gio Farena, by the way, got booked for a yellow. As Hall remains down in front of goal.
Interesting, because as we spoke about Tyler Hall's natural position being a centre back, it doesn't look like Inter Miami CF have another natural right back on their bench.
Looks like they're tending to the upper body, maybe a nosebleed there for Hall. Well, we had no stoppage time in the first half, so naturally we had to have something here in the second half.
Does a nosebleed count as a head injury substitution, or?
Good question. I guess we'll find out in a minute. He's still down. Now Hall able to walk off under his own power. Holding that bandage up to his nose.
Well, we have this little break. We can revisit some of the statistics of the game so far. Possession hasn't got any different from the first half. Currently 66% in favor of Inter Miami CF2 and 33% in favor of Miami FC. In contrast to that, you may be surprised, Miami FC have had 5 shots on target. Good shots, bad shots, that's debatable. Inter Miami CF have just had 1 shot on target. So despite their dominance in possession, they haven't been able to turn it into anything really that threatening for Bill Hamid with just 1 shot on target so far in this game.
Well, there's your answer, Chris. Victor Fung, the 17-year-old, enters for Tyler Hall.
And Victor Fung, a Canadian national team. I think he spent time with the Canadian national team, also the Venezuela U20 national team. Another centre-back who's now operating as a right-back. And as we spoke about, the strengths of Brandon Bent, being able to exploit the space behind, is going to be an interesting matchup. Victor Fung, obviously a very smart, intelligent defender, but he's obviously not in his most natural position. So there's an opportunity there for Miami FC if they recognize it early enough with just 18 minutes of regulation time remaining.
Farena trying to go over the top, looking for Pim. Pim gives a shove. An extra on the way down, but no ill intent there. Pim has only played 6 minutes in the 3 league matches so far for Inter Miami 2, but came on as a sub in the second half of round 1. Played well, so he's getting the opportunity again here tonight. Pim flicks it forward. Won by Akinyode, and then the foul on Saha. Not sure what happened there. It was away a corner. I think he was trying to play it to Marin, and he lost his head for a moment.
Bit of a bad touch there from Cesar Badia. He's limping a little bit too. You can see him reaching for his calf muscles, maybe struggling with a little bit of cramp. Maybe a moment before we see Basabi, who'll be a like-for-like exchange coming into the game. That would be Inter Miami's 3rd moment.
Right as Gavilanes was going to take the corner, we get a whistle here.
Of course, if this remains tied at extra time, we do, at end of regulation time, we do have extra time and penalties in which both teams will be afforded an additional substitution.
Goal, wide for a goal kick.
In swung delivery.
See if the card comes out here, and it does. I believe that'll go
to Victor Fung.
Yep, just into the match, just into the book.
Just into the match at right back. We spoke about him being out of his natural position. And this is something that, if you're the players on the field, you don't need your coach on the sideline to tell you, like, hey, he's got a booking, give me the ball. Let me go in 1v1. One more bad tackle or poorly timed tackle, and he's going for an early shower. This is where you start to look for those players or those opportunities on the field where you can gain an advantage.
By the way, just some scores around the Open Cup. South Georgia up 3-2 on Foro SC in the 90th minute. 61st minute, Carolina Core and Charlotte Independence deadlocked at 1. Columbus Crew 2 with a cup set earlier today over USL Championship side Lexington 3-0. This would be a cup set here tonight. Should Inter Miami 2 take down Miami FC.
And sometimes statistics do surprise you. I don't think they always tell the truth story of the game, but 66% in the Miami CF. Miami FC have had 11 shots, 30 with just 33%. So despite dominating the possession, Miami FC have shown statistically to be the team so far tonight who's had more shots and more shots on target. 5 shots on target in the Miami CF, 1 shot on target. And this is what we spoke about They're playing well, they're possessing the ball. But in order to advance, in order to win, they have to turn that into goal-scoring opportunities, and they have to capitalize. Because as the match goes on, you would expect at some point the experience that Miami FC have to kick in and be able to manage the game. There's the substitution we were speaking about. Abadia Reda leaving the game for Basabe coming in, like-for-like substitution.
But Basabe had an assist in round 1. Miami FC will make a substitution as well. Dejan Veron will enter. Long free kick here. Gavilanes standing over it. Here it comes. Nobody home, only Basabe in pink.
Just needed to be aware of what was around him there, Basabe. There was no player closing him down. He had enough time to turn and get the ball under control and look for the pass forward.
Flicked on. Cleared away. Cagnode. Had that one deflect, and a chance for Zeltzer Zubida, but he's cut off by Bent. That one split the difference between Cohen and Saha, and Miami FC can take over.
I do feel Miami FC just starting to grow it a little bit more into the game now. Managing to sustain possession of the ball for just a little bit longer than they were earlier in the game. Good sequence of passing here. Here's that 1v1 matchup we spoke about. Victor Fon currently on a yellow card.
Basabe gets there first. Pim couldn't track it down. Gavilanes into the 18, spin and a fire, deflects, and then goes out for a corner.
Good job on the edge of the box here, just to get the ball out of his feet and turn. Not sure whether there was a better option to lay it off to a player facing forward, but as we spoke about, a little bit of momentum shift now coming from Miami FC, able to sustain possession of the ball a little bit longer. Some good combination play, switching the point of attack.
So now Miami FC will make that aforementioned substitution. Mercado out, Veron in. For this corner for Miami FC. Punched out by Marin. He's been good tonight. Through everybody. Scooped up. To Miami 2, Division 3, out of MLS Next Pro. Miami FC, Division 2 out of USL Championship.
You can see a shift in tactics here, it looks like, from Miami FC. They're starting to press in at Miami CF a lot higher up the field, almost like they don't want the game to go to extra time. So now they're going a little bit harder in the last 10 minutes, see if they can get that go-ahead goal. Or they're feeling the momentum shift in the game and they're starting to feel themselves with a little bit more confidence. But you can see them starting to press a little bit higher up the field than they were. Earlier they had the mid-block, they were deep at the halfway line before they put pressure, but now they're starting to put pressure in the attacking third also.
Space on the right side for Romero. Now Gavilanes. Whipped in. Headed away by Inter Miami 2.
Dangerous in-swinging ball into the box there.
Montenegro turns, gives off to Cohen. Cohen looking for Zeltzer Zubida. Header won by Miami FC and Ricketts. Cohen applying pressure to Knutson. And it forces the giveaway.
I think if you're Miami FC and you're seeing the areas where Cohen's currently getting his touches, you're not that concerned. He's not going to score from those areas. He's a player that needs to be in between the sticks to be effective in the game. And he's starting to drift into wide areas. He's starting to drift deeper. And that's not where he's most threatening.
And they'll get Basabe for a yellow. Late challenge.
Comes in strong here, Basabe. The ball's loose, strong in the 50-50. I think Akinyodi's a little bit heavier than he's making it look in that instant. He's jumped a little bit like a feather. I think he's a lot stronger than he's making out. A little bit of sportsmanship, but I think Basabe finds himself in the book also for that tackle. But if you're a young player, you're coming into the game, you're coming in off the bench, of course you want to get stuck in, you want to make a name for yourself, you want to catch the coach's eye, you need to play with aggression. It's not you want to play with aggression, it's a must when you're coming against a team that's older than you and maybe a little bit more physical than you. You need to stamp your authority and not allow yourself to be dominated.
Rivera. Now Romero. Ricketts. Service comes in. Bent. Working on Fung. Fung wins that battle, but fortunately for Miami FC, it is a corner.
Good defending there from Fung. You can see sometimes players go in that situation, they rush in, they dangle their foot, the attacker's tricky, plays it out their feet, and they give away a penalty. Fung does a good job of just being patient, holding his ground. He doesn't allow Bent to get round him, and then he blocks the cross.
'84th minute. Here comes the corner for Miami FC. It's low and flicked through. It took 83 minutes, but Miami FC might be on their way to round 3.
And it was always going to come from something crazy. A low-driven cross, and it's just a flick at the near post.
Bonfiglio, who had a brace in round 1, gets Miami FC on the board in round 2.
And it deceives everybody because the ball just comes across so quickly. It's not in the line of Matias Marin's vision. Just creeps in at the near post area. Now it's going to need a big response from Miami FC in these closing 10 minutes of this game to get themselves back in and potentially take it to extra time. We've spoken about, yes, they've been the better team. Miami FC have somehow found a way to create more goal scoring opportunities and more shots on goal. Now, Inter Miami CF really have to step up a little bit. Maybe it involves being a little bit more direct. Maybe they need players like Jack Pim to pick up the ball a little bit higher in between the lines where he can play the killer passes. They now need to be a lot more forward thinking in these remaining minutes.
Aaron Akloke getting set to come in for Miami FC. Francisco Bonfiglio. A brace in round 1 as one of the 2 goals for Miami FC in league play. And Akloke will enter for Gavilanes. You feel for Matias Marin. He played a fantastic match, but a cheeky little back heel off the corner from Bonfiglio has Miami FC up 1-0. Yeah. How can they hang on?
And I think for these young Miami CF players, yes, they can take positives from the game. They've gone out against a USL Championship type. They've more than held their own. You could say that they've displayed themselves maybe as the better players or the better team over the duration of the game, but they have to find a way to win because nobody wants to pat on the back for playing well. You want to win games. That's your mentality. Nobody comes away and feels good about playing well. You want to turn it into win. So there's still time left in this game for them to do that.
Seltzer Zubida cuts to the middle. Tried to pop it over the top. Didn't have enough on it. Taken away. Bad giveaway there by Romero. Miami FC clears for the moment. Farena for Basabe.
Farena's been a rock at the back for Inter Miami CF in this game. So composed in possession of the ball, but so aggressive and tenacious when he's going to close down players and win it.
Saha in a race for it. He was cut off by Mitrano. A throw-in for Inter Miami 2 as they look for the equalizer. And the foul given.
Good opportunity here for Inter Miami CF. I think on the field, they just got to do a better job of telling Cohen to stay on the last line as high as he can. Stop dropping into pockets. Stay where you're the most threatening. He just has a knack for being in the box, reacting first to things, the ball bouncing on somebody's back and him being able to finish it. At the moment, he's dropping deeper into areas where he's not so much threatening towards goal. Needing a goal in the last 5 minutes of the game, maybe you don't ask him to do so much defensive work, and you just say stay up front and be a target for us, stay in the box, hope something falls to your feet, finish it.
This is the third time Inter Miami 2 has had a free kick within a yard of the penalty area. They've gone for goal both times, looking for the equalizer late. Here it comes. Never got all the way through. Flicked away. Tim was the one who took it, and that's out for a throw-in for Miami FC.
Of course, Inter Miami CF have to be the ones to force the tempo here. Miami FC will be trying to slow things down, drain every second they can off the clock right now.
I wonder how much stoppage time we'll see. There were a couple of injury delays.
It looks like they may have even dropped into a back five now to try and defend this lead for the remainder of the game.
Remember, they brought in Akloke, who is a defender for Gavilanes, who was playing out on the wing.
We spoke about Brandon Bent and his ability to stretch the defense, but you can see he's taking a much deeper position now. He's almost in line with the defense, so they've definitely dropped into a back five.
We're going to get a booking here. A lot of yellows tonight.
Sometimes when you drop into a back five after you take the lead, it can be worse, because now you're just defending, absorbing pressure, and sometimes that can lead to the set piece or the foul or the deflection in the final minutes. Rather than staying confident and continuing to do the things that got you the lead, you've now made a decision to do the complete counter. And I'm not saying that defending in that moment is wrong, but sometimes it proves to be the wrong decision to become more passive than to continue to be the aggressive approach that they took to themselves, the equalizer.
Basabe. Veron got the yellow. As Inter Miami 2 looks for the equalizer at home late in round 2.
Great pass forward there from Almeida.
Montenegro. Now Pim, too heavy on his touch. And it's given away.
Pim is the guy that want to fight, but he needs to find himself in positions behind the midfield line so he has the opportunity to make that last pass.
Zeltzer Zubida. Tried the give and go there. Comes all the way out to Pim. Pim looking for Cohen. Battling with Akloke, and Akloke with the physicality wins that. See how much stoppage time we get. Zeltzer Zubida settles it down. Brings it towards the middle, but he's shielded off. Zeltzer Zubida again. Flicked into the area. Cohen. Too tall for him. Akloke just puts it down for Hamid.
6 minutes of additional time. Inter Miami have to take some risks in these moments. They're going to have to throw bodies forward, probably leave themselves a little bit exposed defensively, but it's going to be what's required in these final phases to try and get that equalizing goal.
Miami FC condensing everybody. Zubida, one touch. It's a good ball for Basabe, but it's cut off, and that's out for a corner.
They have to force the urgency and just keep the ball in play as often as much as possible here.
Zeltzer Zubida gets it in for Basabe. Basabe. Ledesma. Missed opportunity there for Inter Miami 2.
Way too much on that little chip. He's just trying to chip it over the defense, but the wrong golf club.
I've been there.
Don't put me on the golf course.
After the last round I played, I'm with you on that.
I couldn't even tell you what club to use. Chip, I think that was the chip club.
Well, he needed probably a 60-degree wedge there, and he brought out the 7-iron and put it 60 yards over the green. for a throw-in here for Miami FC, and they are content to take their time.
Still enough time for at least one or two more good opportunities. But as you spoke about, Miami FC in no rush to get this ball back into play.
Cloque. No wins for Miami FC in 4 matches in USL Championship. But they are about 4 minutes away from their 2nd win in the Open Cup.
And a win is a win, but I don't feel like this is a win that they go away ecstatic about. I feel like it's a win where they're grateful to be in the hat, but they go away knowing that there's a lot of work needs to be done for them to be competitive in the division that they're competing in, but also to reflect the organization in a positive light.
And you know that their round 3 matchup is going to be incredibly tough if they hang on.
I envision that over the course of the season, you're going to see a lot of changes in this roster.
That's out for a corner, much to the chagrin of Miami FC.
Inevitably, they're going to need more talent on the roster. They're going to need more depth on the roster. I envision the squad that you see now may look completely different in June.
Big opportunity here for Inter Miami 2 with a corner in stoppage time. It's low. Saha went down. Montenegro chases and grabs it. Pim cleared away by Bent. Good play by him. That's Marin. For Zeltzer Zubida. Zeltzer Zubida watched by Akloke. Cohen lost it. Ledesma. Montenegro whips it in. Saha there, Cohen there. Last touch by Miami FC, and here comes a corner.
That's what Miami FC Inter Miami CF need to do as much as possible in these closest phases. Just get the ball in the box as much as possible. You see top teams, the best teams in the world, when it comes to the final phase and they need a goal, they have to get the ball into the box. Sometimes youth soccer, you can get a little bit enamored with passing sideways and backwards. You've got to get the ball forward in the dying phases and create as many opportunities as you can.
Here comes the corner, headed away, Zeltzer Zubida, tees it up, it's blocked. And then chipped ahead by Miami FC. Basabe takes control and then lost it. Romero takes it away. Basabe battled back though. Over to get it there is Rivera. Montenegro did his best. Miami FC has possession. Throw in coming for Inter Miami 2.
Of course you're going to get your look.
I mean,
there's zero discretion in that part.
And Bent is going to get carded for that.
I don't think he can get Bent out of shape about that yellow card.
That's why they pay you the big bucks, for puns like that. Farena over the top. Looked for Yuval Cohen. The flag was up for offside. That might have been the last gasp for Inter Miami 2. The goal in the 84th minute by Francisco Bonfilio, who had a brace in round 1. Off a corner kick, a little back heel that got past. Matias Marin, the 17-year-old keeper. A berth in round 3 is on the line. Is there late magic for Inter Miami 2? If there is, we're running out of time.
I think this is why we love competitions. You don't always get what you deserve in soccer games. Evidently, putting the ball in the back of net is wins it. As much as we've spoken about as well as Inter Miami CF may have played tonight, it looks like they're going to be the losers in this game. And of course, there's tons of learning opportunities, but they're competing at the pro level, and they're going to quickly learn as the season drifts on that the pro level is about getting results. It's about winning. It's not going to be judged upon style of play or possession 6 months from now when you're looking at the tables or you're looking at individual performances. And of course, you need wins to get players to buy in and believe and to build that confidence and momentum going forward. So I think there's a lesson to be learned for Inter Miami CF tonight.
And there is the final whistle. A valiant effort by Inter Miami 2, but it's the USL Championship side, Miami FC, On the heels of the goal by Francisco Bonfiglio in the 84th minute, advances to the third round of the U.S. Open Cup.
For Miami FC, the positives they can take is they're in the hat for the next round on a night when they didn't play very well. For them, there's a lot of building, a lot of rapport, a lot of construction that needs to be done with their group to advance forward. For Miami FC, there's a lot of individual performance, very good optimism for the youngsters. But again, playing at the pro level that they're at now, they also need to find a way to turn their good performances into wins.
Let's take a look at our highlights here in the second half. Inter Miami 2 had plenty of opportunities. That might have been the biggest save by Hamid on the free kick.
We spoke about Cohen and his ability inside the box. Brendan Bent's first touch as he come into the game, a float across into the box. And Gavilanes just unable to connect with it as sweet as would have liked. Fairly straightforward for Matias Marin.
One whipped in. Another save by Marin, the 17-year-old, who did everything he could tonight to keep his side in it. But certainly, Miami FC put together a ton of great chances in the second half, and here was the lone goal.
Yeah, and it's hard to judge whether this was intentional, whether he intentionally driven that ball low or he missed it. But that's the goal that defines who won and lost in today's game.
Here are our final stats. Those possession numbers still heavily favor Inter Miami 2, but you see of their 7 shots, just 1 on target, 7 on 13 attempts for Miami FC. And again, while not the prettiest of games at times, at the very least, Miami FC comes away with the victory and they move on.
Yeah, and as we spoke about, this Inter Miami CF team was able to beat Columbus 4-2, so they do have the ability to score goals. Just tonight, they were unable to turn their possession and the play that they had into goal-scoring opportunities, or more importantly, shots on target. Miami FC didn't have much possession of the ball because, as you can see, they're able to create more shots and had more shots on target, evidently getting the go-ahead goal from a set-piece corner in the dying stages of the game, and they're in the hat for the next round.
So Miami FC are through to round 2 on the goal by Francisco Bonfiglio in the 84th minute. For Chris Nurse and our entire crew, this is Josh Appel saying so long from Chase Stadium. Miami FC is on to round 3. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.